Hello, my name is Chip Williams. Thank you so much for watching my presentation. For generations, through a combination of social and political forces, including nationalism, colonialism, and racism, Mexican American identity developed into a culture of its own within the United States. Within the broader portrayal of the history of Chicano liberation, many women of color reached the point where exclusionary, masculine, and unfair political and social culture could no longer be tolerated. Through mobilization and organization, Chicana feminism and leadership in the 1960s and 1970s made a dramatic impact on the lives of minorities and aided in the advancement of all Mexican Americans. The Chicano movement developed in part because Chicanx people did not consider themselves truly to be American, especially when compared to white US citizens. That disparity became even larger for Chicanas, who have had to deal with patriarchal oppression and subordination. In seeking to contribute to conversations on Chicanx history, this study argues that discrimination, oppression, and patriarchy helped establish the basis for the development of Chicana identity and feminism. My findings show that it can be posed that within the Chicano movement, Chicano men and Anglo feminists are kind of two peas in the same pod. Chicano oppression can be best understood by considering how power is structured in America. Especially within social movements such as these, at the top of the hierarchy is still always the white male. And after that, it can be argued that either the Chicano male or in some cases Anglo feminists would come next. But Chicanas have been neglected and even discriminated against by Anglo feminists within feminist movements. And Chicana contributions are always kept to a minimum when included in activities according to the historical narrative. Chicana involvement is always in the framework of some sort of special committee or subcommittee. Alma Garcia argues that Chicanas searched for a room of their own, developing their own feminist consciousness as a result of their experiences with sexism in revolutionary struggles and social movements, due to the extent that such movements are almost always dominated by men, and struggled to gain social equality and end sexist oppression. An ideological feminism developed among Chicanas within the Chicano movement, as Chicanas were expected to take an auxiliary role subordinate to Chicanos. Many Chicanx people considered that the feminist ideology within the movement posed a threat to the overall movement because such an idea undermined the unity of the Chicano movement. Moreover, Chicana feminists and their ideas face accusations of impairing Chicanx values connected to Chicano culture. And persisting throughout the 1970s above all is this idea of loyalists, and loyalists are women who believe that the most critical matter Chicanx community faced stemmed from racial oppression. These loyalists believe that Chicana feminism is an individual search for identity, and it draws away from the real issue of racism, considering the concept of feminism to be anti-family, anti-cultural, anti-man, and therefore an anti-Chicano movement. Chicana's activism developed in part from the resilience of women who navigated a long line of patriarchal hegemony and established gender roles within family and community settings. In conclusion, I have found that Chicana feminist leaders highlight a suggestion that the Chicana struggle comes from a wide array of experiences and is not necessarily monolithic. However, evidence conveys that the multifaceted Chicana experience historically exposes a common theme beyond the plight of the Chicano male. Many Chicanas encounter a dual process of oppression derived from conservative gender expectations that call for the subservience of Chicanas to men while still encountering the same kind of racism that Chicanos faced. Despite and because of these challenges, Chicanas learn to navigate the system of exclusion and inequality inside and outside of their communities. Chicana participation, mobilization, and organization within larger social movements help to create new types of solidarity and freedom as women. The foundation of Chicana identity and feminism sprang out of the desire for equitable social relations, and Chicanas laid the groundwork for their own space in response to systemic unfairness and discrimination. Thank you so much for watching.